Welcome back, everyone. It's here. And today I've got some r/BestOf for you all. As per usual, I'll be reading you the posts, giving you my opinions, and I hope you do the same down in the comments below. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. This post was collected by Madison Brave. They don't have a tagline yet. The original OP is The Exit in Gone, posted to r/relationships December 8th, 2024. My, female 19, dad asked our godparents not to have the waiters sing happy birthday to my brother, male 11, who likely has hyperacusis autism, but they did it anyway. My family is close with a couple from church who we referred to as our godparents in their 60s, growing up since my preteen days. They're in their late 60s, and they've also counseled my parents on many things through the years: finances, big purchases, biblical advice. They're also church leaders, and they've celebrated almost all of our milestones with us, to the point that they're basically family. However, they struggle with boundaries, and I've lost respect for my parents who continue to give them a pass in this specific area pertaining to my post. My brother is autistic and very shy, and he always asks us not to have the waiters sing happy birthday when we go out for dinner. Our godparents have a prank they like to do to embarrass people, and that's having the waiters sing happy birthday, even when it's not someone's birthday, for free cake every time we go to a restaurant. Before I continue, I want to point out that both my parents and godparents are church leaders, and church leaders, at least in our church, always go to a restaurant following Sunday service to mingle further. My godparents pull the prank on a random leader each Sunday, to the point that it became an inside joke in the group. Like, who's it gonna be today? But they did it to my brother years ago, on the Sunday of his birthday week. He literally cried from the attention of the nearby tables as they sang to him. My dad asked them not to do it to him anymore after that, and they listened for a few years, until this weekend. My dad reminded them not to do it this year when we went to eat with leaders, on the week of his birthday, and they agreed beforehand. But they later changed their mind and did it anyway, and said he was overreacting when he retreated to the bathroom for some time afterward. I told my dad that we shouldn't go out with them anymore, but he disagreed because he considers them family, even though it's the second time now, and we rarely celebrate anything without them. Is there anything I can say to get through to him? Because I don't know at this point. And they won't let my brother stay home after he asked following Saturday in regards to future restaurant trips with them. What should we do? Update post, June 11th, 2025. It's been some time since my first post, but I've since reflected on something that caused many misunderstandings in our family for years thanks to a therapist at my college, and the restaurant incident being the last in a string of misunderstandings. I didn't go to the therapist for myself, but rather my brother, and a condition we couldn't name. My parents knew he had some sort of autism growing up, but they weren't sure what this other thing was. I'll describe it in a moment, as I did for my therapist, who was able to provide much clarity. But this condition played a role in why my brother didn't like being sung happy birthday at the restaurant, along with other similar instances in the past. I'll also refer to / link a website that'll help me better explain his potential condition too, followed by a link to the Cleveland Clinic on hyperacusis. My therapist believes my brother has a condition called sound sensitivity autism, or hyperacusis, that makes everyday sounds feel uncomfortably loud and sometimes painful. It can cause anxiety from dreading / anticipating unpredictable loud sounds, sometimes depression or social isolation. My therapist came to this conclusion after hearing some things I told her about my brother, some dating back many years. We once went to a football game, and he hid in the concessions area with his headphones blasting because the inside seats were too loud. He's also hid in the bathroom at church when certain services were too loud / raucous. He doesn't like concerts and visibly shakes whenever a crowd gets loud, and he'll often wear headphones at home because the TV, especially live audience events, often triggers / overloads his senses. There are many more examples, but my parents have trouble understanding him, and have blamed him for not wanting to do family activities when he actually does, just not the ones that trigger him. Our family loves sports, and he does too. He watches them with headphones on that's playing music, but doesn't watch with friends due to fear of being perceived as weird. The worst times were when he was forced to do activities he didn't want to. He once had anxiety before a piano recital, Not because he was nervous about playing, but because of every time applause would ring out during the event or any live event. That, in and of itself, caused anxiety. He enjoys playing piano, but not the performing part of it. He said it's like constantly living on edge because you never know when a loud sound will ring out. However, there was something my therapist told me on a subsequent visit that gave me hope, and it was an article she found from last year. There's an NBA player named Joe Ingles, whose son had a similar condition, but he was younger, 8, unlike my 11-year-old brother. Like my brother, he also didn't like loud environments and didn't attend his father's games as a result. However, last year, he had a breakthrough, thanks to the medical professionals he saw, and his mother made plans for him to attend his father's game for the first time. Joe was no longer a starter at this point in his career. He came off the bench. But the Timberwolves coach told the team that he was going to put Joe in the starting lineup for the game his son was attending, and the story was covered by media outlets, followed by a link to the story. I brought that story, along with the webpage I referenced/linked above, to my parents to try and explain my brother's condition we never understood. And while they were receptive to it, they didn't feel that it was necessary to bring him to a doctor/therapist because they believe they can give him exposure tests on their own. That'll lead to a similar breakthrough. But I disagree. Joe's son made a breakthrough thanks to guidance from medical professionals, not his parents trying to cure it on their own. But no matter how hard I pushed, they refused to take him to a professional and instead chose to reach out for support/prayer from church. I can't express how upset that made me, and I couldn't bring him myself because I'm not his parent. I hate how they think they can easily replicate the breakthrough Joe's son had without professional help. I told my therapist, and she agrees it's unfortunate, because it's better to address it as young as you can. Regarding the incident at the restaurant, my brother had a sensory overload when the waiters sang and the other tables were looking at ours. This is the second time our godparents have done this to him. He was 8 the first time they did, and he started crying when they sang. We didn't know what hyperacusis was at the time, but my parents told our godparents not to do it again when his birthday approached in the subsequent years. And they listened until he turned 11 this year. My parents reminded them not to do it this year too, and they agreed before breaking their promise. I tried explaining the unofficial diagnosis from my therapist to my godparents to make them understand, but they were even worse than my parents and said he needs to stop acting like a girl. Regarding their fake birthday, reoccurring prank that leaders come to expect every Sunday they go to a restaurant after church, like whose it's gonna be today, lol. I told my parents it's wrong because it's stealing and taking advantage of the restaurant's free cake when it's not someone's birthday. But Dad said it's justified when the total is often over $100 and that cake can't be more than like $3. I called him out for how the Bible says that all sin is equal, regardless of big or small, and he didn't like when I did. But back to my brother. They aren't budging in their opinion of not seeking a medical professional, and I hate when people use religion and arrogance to think of themselves as above doctors and such. New update, January 2nd, 2026. A couple weeks ago. A few people reached out to ask if I ever considered telling the head pastor about the leaders stealing at the restaurant. Unfortunately, the head pastor and his wife are complicit in the inside joke. I should also clarify that while there's one restaurant that we attend, most often for the happy birthday prank, the group occasionally rotates to a Chinese buffet that doesn't do happy birthday songs because it's a buffet. So when we go there, it's a break for that week. I've argued with my parents a lot since my previous post about many things. I've called out the group stealing many times, but my dad said it's justified, because the group is usually anywhere between 10 to 15 people, when others bring their kids straight from church. So while one person is getting free cake from the birthday prank, 14 other people are paying for their own dessert, and the bill is usually a few $100s. And given how often we visit there each year, the restaurant likely makes a few $1,000s from us each year. Dad literally admitted they were sinning because he admitted that the good $200 plus bill outweighs the bad $3 stolen cake. Literally contradicting how the Bible says that all sin is equal, big or small. Furthermore, Dad admitted that he thinks Jesus is stupid because he thinks he can pull that over him. And if God is stupid, then he can't be all-powerful. And if he isn't all-powerful, then why the hell are we going to church unless it's only for the social aspect and street credit of being a Christian when it's convenient? Regarding my brother's sensory challenges, I tried to convince them to seek medical assistance while he's still young. But they've grown tired of me bringing it up and told me not to anymore. They also said they don't want him to be diagnosed because they don't need someone telling him that there's something officially wrong with you, when God says you're fearfully and woefully made. But I disagree. According to my university therapist, a diagnosis can help him receive accommodations at future jobs if need be. Plus, the sooner he receives medical attention, the better chance he has of making progress. Continuing to ignore it will make the symptoms worse. But my parents have made their decision. My therapist said the next best thing would be trying to accommodate him by not forcing him to attend concerts and sporting events, since they won't let him see doctors that could provide healthy coping mechanisms. Another was simply dropping him off at home before my parents go to the restaurant, where church leaders are loud/obnoxious and often walking around to other people's seats. However, my parents refused because other leaders bring their kids directly from church, and they don't want to get there late. They also said that he'll improve with more exposure, and I couldn't disagree more without medical attention. As for where things stand now, I decided to make a report to CPS as a result of some things my brother told me. First, he said he wants to receive treatment, but our parents are obviously against it. He said he feels anxious 24/7 and wishes he wouldn't wake up on some days when a loud event draws close, like a concert or sporting event he's forced to attend. Church as well, which is loud. During the drive to such events, he'll close his eyes and hope they never arrive because time seems to go slowly, with his eyes closed. He also hates when he gets overstimulated and our parents limit the amount of times they'll let him go to the bathroom. It's also affecting his friends who don't understand why he doesn't want to do certain activities, and he doesn't want to say why, while wishing he had treatment. There were other thoughts he didn't feel comfortable disclosing, but I made the report due to feeling worried he might have some dangerous thoughts. He literally said it's like living on edge 24/7 because a loud sound can happen at any moment, and his tolerance has worsened with time, to even quieter sounds overstimulating him. It's been over a month, and I haven't heard anything from CPS, and since there's no physical harm involved, I'm not sure anything will come from it. I've permanently lost all respect for my parents and their lack of caring regarding this matter, and I've already decided that they'll never meet my kids, or even know they exist in a perfect world. Anyone I date in the future who disagrees won't be considered, because I consider this a deal breaker, and I'm not changing my stance. The only reason I haven't fully told them off is because I'll likely be cut off if I do, and then my brother would have no one in his corner. This is unfortunately a perfect example of people who use their faith as a way to hide behind their misdoings. Now, despite the fact that I am a walking singularity of degeneracy, I'd be very curious to hear from some of the more religious members of my audience on their opinion on this one, especially with the potential misappropriation of their faith and how they're abusing it, or perhaps even the fact that they feel that they can pull a fast one on the Almighty. Because I already know what a lot of people who are advocates for autism or disabilities are going to say, and I know they feel that the aluminum bat just simply won't cut it this time. But as for OP, my only recommendation that I can honestly give in a situation as unfortunate and frustrating as this one is to potentially talk with your brother's school. Talk with the principal, teachers, anyone who might be able to file some form of report and have the weight of their profession following behind them, so it's taken seriously. You're doing right by your brother, and don't let a single member of your family tell you otherwise. Also, as someone who used to work Sundays, I still sometimes wake up in a cold sweat from the stress that Sundays give. And to put it in perspective, this was at a burger/froyo shop that had a middle school down the road, and I've worked on the days when school got out for summer. And it still didn't even line up with how bad Sundays can be. This post was collected by Quality Proof. They do not have a tagline. This is a classic Reddit post, posted by Mistress Whiskers, October 25th, 2013. I, 28 female, just walked in on my husband, 30 male, making out with my sister, 33. Please help. I am absolutely devastated right now. I don't know what to do. I don't even know where to start. My sister, Lisa, lost her husband, Jimmy, 2 years ago in a motorcycle accident. She did not take it well and closed herself off from the world. A year ago, she reached out to us and told us she was having a hard time adjusting and said that she needed help. I helped her find a good therapist and she's been getting her life back on track. My husband, Rick, felt bad for her and started spending a lot of time with her. For the past 6 months, they have spent more and more time together. At first, I was fine with it because she was finally becoming like my sister again. She started smiling. I was so happy for her. And so was my husband. They started spending more time alone from me, which I didn't think much of at first. Then they started spending more and more time alone. And I got a little jealous. I told my husband I would like it if we could spend more time together and that I was feeling a little neglected. He said okay, but nothing changed. Today, my sister came to my house crying because she had a dream about Jimmy. My husband and I comforted her, but I was a little annoyed because the second I let her in my house, she ran into my husband's arms. We all went into the living room and sat down. My husband asked her what happened in the dream, and she actually asked me to leave the room because she didn't feel comfortable telling me. I was so upset at this point, I immediately left and started tearing up in the other room. I was in the other room for around 10 minutes when I heard a loud sound in the living room, so I got up and went there. I couldn't believe what I saw. I am literally crying my eyes out while typing this up. They were fucking making out on my couch in our home. What the fuck do I do? My entire fucking world has just been shattered in front of my very eyes. I ran out of the room because I was going to vomit right there and locked myself in my room. My husband hasn't even tried to come in. I have been crying nonstop. Please help. The two people I trusted more than anything. What the hell do I do? Too long didn't read. Please just read it. My sister lost her husband in a motorcycle accident and was devastated. She reached out to me for help and got close with my husband. I just walked into them making out. I don't know what the hell to do. Edit, well, I answered the door. Rick walked in, wouldn't even look at me. He mumbled something and went and sat on the bed. I was so angry that he wouldn't even look at me that I almost left right there. I asked him what the hell was going on with him and my sister. He sat there for a few minutes without saying anything while I was crying my eyes out until I finally yelled at him to answer me. He whispered that he loved her. At this point, I lost it. I started yelling, how could he do this to me? Do these past 10 years mean nothing to him? Literally dropped to my knees and asked how he could betray me with my own sister and then tell me he loves her? He was quiet the entire time until I stopped yelling. He said that he had been regretting not experimenting with other women before we got married and that he shouldn't have married the first girl he was with. I was stunned and asked if he ever loved me. He said yes, but after spending time with my sister, he realizes she is who he wants to be with. I had no words. I didn't have a clue what to say. All my life was falling apart in front of my eyes and I was scared. I told him I might be pregnant and he said that he would support me. I asked how and he said he didn't know, but that he was leaving me to go be with my sister. He apologized to me and told me I deserve better than him and that he will do whatever he can to help me and the baby. And if I agree to divorce him, he will give me everything. Just once out of our marriage. In that moment, I felt like I hated him and never wanted to see him again, so I screamed at him, "Fine, just get the fuck out. You ruined my life. I hope you're fucking happy, you piece of shit." And then he had the audacity to try and hug me. I flipped out and pushed him off me. Someone knocked on the door and he told me that he still loved me and we would figure everything out, and left. I decided to call my parents and tell them what happened. My mom dropped a bombshell on me that my sister told her she had feelings for my husband and that she wanted to be with him. Why she didn't tell me this? I have no fucking clue. But I feel like everyone is against me. Right now, I'm sitting on the computer looking up lawyers in my area. My entire life has gone to shambles within hours, and I am terrified. Tomorrow, I'm going to get a pregnancy test. I just hope to fucking God I'm not pregnant because I do not want to have this piece of shit's baby. God, guys, I am so fucking upset right now. I want to fucking drink right now, but I won't in case I'm pregnant. Jesus! I hate my life. I wish I had the heart to... Oh, darling, don't say that. First update. Thank you everyone for your kind words and PMs. Your words really helped me when I was in the lowest possible spot I've been in. A lot has happened since I woke up. First of all, I'm no longer going to refer to Lisa as my sister because she is not my sister any longer. I woke up this morning and felt like complete shit and didn't want to get up. I went and got a pregnancy test and thank fucking God I am not pregnant. It was bittersweet because we've been trying to get pregnant for a while now and I never thought I'd be so glad to see I wasn't pregnant. I am really upset over the way things have turned out and now I'm having these weird feelings that I want to be pregnant after all. I don't know what's going on, but it's just adding on another difficult layer of shit going on right now. A little while later, I left the house to get groceries and when I opened my mailbox, there was a letter in it from Lisa. After I got home, I opened it and read it. I'm not going to rewrite it because I cannot even stand to look at the letter again. Basically, it said that she apologizes for how things turned out, and she explained to me that she was very vulnerable after losing her husband, that after spending so much time with my husband, she started to fall for him, and that she thought she wouldn't ever love anyone else again. So when she realized she loved my husband, she knew she couldn't let him go. No one else can fill the hole in her heart. Lisa promised they never physically did anything before that kiss I caught them in, and she went on to say she needs me in her life and that she hopes I can forgive her. I can't write any more about this right now. I might add in the rest later. I'm a fucking mess. Rick called me a little while ago. I didn't pick up the phone, so he texted me and told me that he still loves me and that we can find a way to work this out. I don't know what the fuck that means since he just left me for Lisa. Now I'm really confused because now that I'm not pregnant, I want to be. And I want my marriage to not be over, even though I hate him for what he's done to me. And why would he text me that? Is he changing his mind? I am so confused. I wish these past few days never happened so there would be nothing wrong still. I know I shouldn't forgive him if he wants another chance, but 10 years of marriage. We were gonna be parents. Fuck! I am so confused and hurt, I can't even think straight. Too long didn't read, Rick left me for Lisa. I'm not pregnant, but I'm having weird feelings about it. Lisa left me a letter in my mailbox and Rick attempted to call me. He texted me something that confused me even more. Now I have no idea what's going on and I don't know what to do. Is he changing his mind? Update 2. Hello everybody. First of all, thank you for all your advice. Thank you for all the people that PM'd me. I didn't want to make an update, but I feel you guys deserve to know what happened after all the help I received. One of the most common questions I got was about my mother. Well, I talked to my mother again and she informed me that she's known about my sister having a thing for my husband for quite some time. She didn't want to tell me because she said she was trying to get my sister to give up the idea and she did not want me to be hurt. She got my sister to agree to let it go a few months ago and never heard anything more about it, so she thought it was over. In the letter I got in the mail, I did not want to write it all down because it was very painful. A few days has passed and I'm ready to share more information, but please don't ask for more because I am simply not comfortable sharing the rest of the letter. In the letter, Lisa apologized for her behavior, but also went on to blame me and said that I flaunted my happiness in front of her with my husband. She wrote that she couldn't stand to see how happy we were and how he genuinely loved me, and she had no one. She told me I should have reached out to her alone and that I had no business getting my husband involved. I don't even know what that's supposed to mean. He's my damn husband. Am I not supposed to involve him in a serious matter like that? She also went on to say that my husband told her he never really loved me and that she was who he really wanted to be with, and asked me to not contact him. She wants me to go through her if I want to say anything to him, and that she will bring over the divorce papers in a few weeks. I have had a few days to process this information, but the more I think about it, the more confusing it seems to me. Then, I got more information today. Lisa is pregnant. She's fucking pregnant. She says it's Rick's. Rick called me as soon as he heard my father inform me. I picked up the phone only because I wanted to hear how he could lie to my face and tell me nothing happened between them before that kiss. He told me that he was so sorry and he didn't want it to happen this way, that my father wasn't supposed to tell me. I started crying and asked him how he could get pregnant with Lisa when we were trying for a baby. Then he said something that stunned me. So much my head is still spinning from it. Rick told me he could still get me pregnant if I wanted. What the fuck? I screamed at him, why the fuck would I want to get pregnant with his child when he's a piece of shit? He told me he wanted to be with both me and my sister and that he thinks he's polyamorous. I was so shocked that I started laughing. After I stopped laughing, he tried to say something else. Then I heard Lisa enter the room and ask who he was on the phone with. He said nobody and hung up. A little later, my sister texted me and told me she would bring over the divorce papers in a week and expected me to sign them on the spot as my husband is giving me everything. She gave me a heads up that they're getting married next month and I'm invited to the wedding if I agree to pretend like I was never even romantically involved with my husband. I am literally at such a loss right now. Who the fuck is this man? And where is the one I married? Why the fuck after all this shit do I still want to be with him even though I know I can't be? I want the man I've been with for the past 10 years back. I hate Lisa and no longer consider her my sister. She has ruined my entire life. But what do I do about my husband? He just texted me right now saying he still wants to be with me, loves me, and wants a baby with me. Why is he doing this to me? Why am I even considering it? Fuck. Too long didn't read. Lisa and Rick are getting married. Rick wants to continue being with me, but Lisa doesn't want me to ever talk to him again. She said I can still be in their lives if I pretend like I was never with him. What the fuck do I do? Obviously I know I can't be with him, but why do I even want to be? Why am I considering it? Update 3. 2 years later. I know this update is long overdue. To be honest, the reason why I didn't update anymore was because I made pretty poor decisions that I was ashamed of and didn't want to face the reality of my situation. I wish I could come here and tell you all that I was strong and cut Rick and Lisa out of my life and moved on with my life, updating to tell you how much better off I am without them a year later. Sadly, that is not the case. I fucked up bad. One commenter, user Bada Boom, told me that I have something called the sad person brain. I remember reading it and being in denial, but now that so much time has passed, this was absolutely the truth. I wanted to do anything to make my pain stop. So I did. I would appreciate if I didn't get reamed for the choices I made. What is done, and I need help now. Thank you in advance. If you remember my last post, Rick and I were trying to get pregnant before he left me for my sister, and wanted to even after he did because he thought he might be polyamorous. At the time, I laughed at him because of how absurd it was. But after he hung up that call, The offer got more and more tempting. I started thinking about it, becoming enraged at my sister for doing what she did to me, thinking that I could get back at her by doing it, throwing it in her face that her new boyfriend doesn't love her more than me after all. I was so angry that I heavily considered doing it. The more I thought about it, the more I wanted to, out of sheer, petty revenge. Don't get me wrong, I also wanted my husband in my life back, but the thought of seeing my sister's newfound happiness and smugness over me come crashing down gave me a pleasure that I never would have imagined. My sister tried very hard to keep my contact with Rick limited. I think she was afraid he would come back to me if she didn't. She was only able to accomplish this for a few months. Rick tried to contact me in numerous ways during this time, but it was always very brief. I was still angry and non-receptive to his advances, but he started becoming more and more aggressive, telling me how much he loved me, how much he missed me, and how much he still wanted me. I even tried blocking him on certain social media accounts, but he kept trying on others. I know I should have just blocked him on everything, but I just couldn't. The more he tried, the harder it was for me to say no. Unfortunately, this resulted in us getting back together. I told him I wouldn't stay with him unless he left my sister. He swore me up and down he loved me more than anything, and facing losing me made him realize that my sister was nothing to him. Everything was amazing between us. It was like old times, and like my sister didn't even exist when he was with me. Yet every night he would go back to her. Stupidly, I decided to believe him, and he said he was just waiting for the right time. And excuse after excuse about how bad he felt for her. Things felt so much better when he was back with me. I didn't want to lose him again. Unfortunately, I ended up getting pregnant because I did not recontinue my birth control from when we were trying for a child before any of this happened. At the time, we were both ecstatic, and everything seemed like a dream come true. I had my husband back, we were having a child, and my life was no longer in pieces. I was so happy that I turned a blind eye to everything obviously fucked up about the situation. I didn't want to see it. I just wanted to stay happy. It wasn't long before Lisa found out. My entire family turned on me. My parents told me how it seems like I did this just out of retaliation and to hurt Lisa. They weren't completely wrong, but I mainly just wanted my old life back. Long story short, Lisa went absolutely berserk. She threatened to kill me and sent me a long list of never-ending harassing texts, emails, and calls. I endured hell from her and my family for months until I had to get a protective order. This only resulted in my family hating me even more. Now, none of them will speak to me. I assume you only got the protective order against your sister and not your family, because no wonder why they wouldn't speak to you. They legally aren't allowed to. And Rick has been issued an ultimatum by them to cut me off or be cut off. He hasn't decided on what he's going to do yet, but it seems like he's leaning towards cutting me off as he's been communicating with me less and less these past weeks. Not to mention, there's been mounting pressure from the family for him to finalize the divorce, but it hasn't happened for various reasons. The last thing he told me was that he feels badly, but that he loves her, and passively aggressively insinuated that I tempted him into trying to get back with me, which is complete bullshit because he was the one who kept pursuing me. He said that I shouldn't have gotten pregnant because now I've made his life so much harder. How I let myself believe he was the man I married again is beyond me. Now all I see is how clouded my judgment has been and the utter mess I've gotten myself into. How I wanted to be happy again so bad I destroyed my life even more trying to get that back. I'm 8 months pregnant and scared. I don't know how I can raise this baby alone. I really don't want to give her up for adoption, and the pain of losing my husband twice is unbearable. Even though I know it was because of my own stupidity, I still love him and can't believe everything he's done to me. Losing my entire family over this has also been a huge kick when I'm at rock bottom. Most of our mutual friends have distanced themselves from us because no one wants to take a side, but It's obvious they're all quite disgusted with the way things have turned out. I have no one left now. Please help, Reddit. How the hell can I fix this mess I've made my life into? Too long didn't read. I'm pregnant with my husband's child who left me for my sister. He hasn't finalized the divorce yet and has been bouncing between picking which one of us he wants to be with, but seems to be ultimately choosing her. I'm going to have my baby in a month and have no idea what to do. I'm hurt from losing everyone around me over this. I'm so afraid and confused. I just don't know what to do. Well, unfortunately, this is one of the best ofs that don't have a happy ending at the end of it. In fact, seem to end on probably one of the worst notes possible. This was 11 years ago at this point in time. And yeah, seems that OP was dealing with a golden child and the sister was pretty much free of any kind of consequence and OP had to deal with everything. I do wonder what ended up happening with the sister's child and how that whole fiasco ended up going down. That was conveniently left out, if that was something that just never panned out for one reason or another, or other reasons, potentially. I may or may not have thrown my voice out during the length of that, so I can't quite give a more in-depth tangent, but it was actually audience recommended. So if you have any recommendations or ones you would like me to cover, please do not hesitate to give them in the comments. I just ask that maybe next time it has a more satisfying or positive ending, because that made me sad.
Hey, welcome to the outro. Don't forget this whole thing is basically brought to you by GamerSupps. If you like caffeine, then I can't recommend GamerSupps enough. Use code Oz at checkout to support the channel. And I do actually use this product. It's replaced all other sources of caffeine for me because I feel good. It doesn't have any of that extra stuff that a pre-workout blend might have. It's with a couple of the extra things to make it so you don't crash as hard. It's good. I like it. Personally, if you really want a good flavor, try the Soda Pressing Pear or even the Dragon Fruit Punch. Those two are my personal favorites right now.